Thank you.
Okay, so if you go to transport loads for me, so I like this menu. There's not as much happening. We already had one in there from when we were doing that whole testing with the transactions. So we're going to go ahead and open this. And I like it because we kind of touch base on some of the fields. So kind of gives us an idea of how to enter the transaction in when you already have one. So stop me if there's something that I'm not going over.
Okay.
So when you create a transport load, you can also duplicate it. But I feel that on a transport load, it's kind of hard to do that because each load is a lot, could be gallons. You could be changing all sorts of things. So it might not be useful to use a duplicate button in the screen. So I'm going to have you go ahead and I don't think we paid this voucher. So we're going to go ahead and unpost it so we can click in the fields. So assuming the transaction has not been paid and the receipt has not been vouchered or paid, you can unpost the record. So this would be like equivalent to the reversal transports process, but in this case, it's actually going to unpost the exact record and you can modify it. So a lot of these fields, like the load date, if you wanted to be very specific with the time, you can do that. And we go ahead and click in that load date time for me.
Oh, okay.
So then you can just select a time here, or you just pick a date and then just say okay. Now the value of doing that is it's going to go in order of, like, let's say we're rebuilding at the end of the month for inventory or daily. The time will actually take into play. So it knows as far as costing method and all of that, that it's 7:25 versus a 9 o'clock transaction. I don't know how valuable the time is, but there is a time in here if you're using, like, it is?
Yes, because our rack prices are based on the time of day, because prices change at 6 p.m.
That's right.
Also,
that's right, they do.
Our bills of lading come in military time, and I noticed this is AM, PM. Can we be put into military time?
You know what? Let me check. I know each user has their own time, like they can be changed, but whether military time is one of them, I'll find out. Or we can go check. How's that? Okay, so let's go to System Manager and then go to Users and then select our friend Jimmy.
Can I go to Lisa?
That's sure. We'll do Lisa. So if you go to the User tab, I'm thinking it's on the right side. So you have your date format, but it doesn't have the it has a date format, but no time. So now I have to check. So it looks like click that for me. Maybe there's another. It extends out in the drop-down selection under date format.
Okay.
All right, so time isn't on there, but I'll find out for you. Can transport time be in military?
Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm making
So now you have your military. Sorry. Were you talking to me, Jimmy?
No, I was making a comment to Lisa about how we can calculate the time or confirm the time if needed. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. So then in the ship via field, that would be your carrier, which if you just select which one from the drop-down selection, and your carrier should all be converted over. And then you also have your seller, which is if that's you guys, or click that drop-down, and if it's someone else, and then the driver who's taken the delivery out.
Okay, for our common carriers and transport, we don't have keep up with drivers. Is there a way to leave it blank?
No, it's a required field. So if we don't have the specific one, we do have to set them up, and maybe you just need to set up the company as the driver. But it is required.
Walk-them-off driver. We can set up walk-them-off driver, transfer driver. Okay, that won't be a problem.
So this will be the same one as the propane.
Okay.
So probably that one's usually Pure, or something like that. Yeah. I can give you those.
Yeah. We got them in there. It's just a matter of setting up a generic driver for each one.
Or that's true too.
A driver for that company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the truck number is not required, so, but you could set it up if you wanted to maintain the trucks. Okay, so the receipts, just getting down to the details section here, the receipts and distributions all in the same screen now, whereas in Origin we did the receipt and then went over to the distribution. So the Origin knows that it's like your options. Click in that field for me, and then let me tell you the different options. There's terminal and there's location. So the terminal is you pulling from a terminal, and then based off of the indicator here, then the fields will change as to what it's looking for. You can also pull from your bulk plant, which is then if you selected location, you would pull from your bulk location to deliver it to your end customer. You can also do a location of, go ahead.
That's like our transfers now by the short truck.
Exactly. So you, in transports, you can do a location-to-location transport load.
Okay.
Or you can do multiple and say you're bringing in a couple receipts because you can have multiple lines, just like I think in Origin, no, we only had one header, didn't we? One vendor. No, there's multiple receipts in there. I can't remember anymore. But you could have, you can pull two different products and throw it into your transport truck. You can pull this specific product from the terminal, and on the second line, pull this specific product from your location. So you could have it where it's coming from both. So in this specific scenario, we have it coming from a terminal, and the fuel supplier is the main vendor where you're paying we're all, like BP would be like their corporate office, for example. The supply point would be which terminal you're pulling it from. So click in that fuel supplier for me. So in this case, if it's not already in here, what will happen is all of the different terminals, and I need to make sure and see why it's not in here, but all of your different terminals will be in here. Right now it's only showing one. Here, let me, go ahead.
How can we add or delete terminals? Because when I was in the test Friday, it showed some in Shell that we no longer use. They don't bill us branded.
Okay. So let's go over one to the fuel supplier for me. Sorry. Click the actual BP. There you go. Up on top of that, the column heading, is there an option to open? Open fuel supplier. So let's go ahead and click that. So this is going to open the vendor file for BP. All the suppliers will be an actual location now. So let's go ahead and click Locations tab. This is not your main vendor though, is it? This is not your terminal vendor. This is a terminal. Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's close this and let's pick a main vendor under the fuel supplier. You'll have to click in the actual, there you go, thank you, sorry. So you would want to select the main.
BP Charlotte, come back.
That one.
Yep. So now let's open that. And let's click the vendor tab. I'm going to show you how it knows it's a terminal. Let me see here. Maybe it's not in the screen. Click general for me. I'm trying to remember where that field is, where it says that it's a terminal vendor. And then they may have removed it in 19.1. It used to be in there. Go ahead.
Look at entity, because I think that's where it might.
I thought it was it used to be on the bottom right side of the screen unless they moved it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
So let's keep
It was
going.
there at one time.
I know. It's moved. So let's go to see if there's go on the bottom. Let's see if is terminal an option in the type. I can't imagine. Go underneath one. Actually, go to the line below. Whoops.
Where did I go?
Went back to load.
Yeah,
close.
you can close that. I can't imagine here. Nope. Oh, yeah. Okay. There used to be a button, so I'm not. Oh, there it is. They switched it.
Yay.
Let's go ahead and save that. I was like, where is that button?
We knew it was there. We just had to find it.
Exactly. So now let's go to the locations tab. So all of these are now actual locations where you can pull the products from. So the way we converted this is that, kind of like the customer side, if it found that there was a pay to different from the main vendor code, we're going to insert those as locations. So now let's, did I lose you guys?
No, we're
Can you
here.
hear me okay? Okay, you're here. My headset was dying. Okay, so go ahead and open up one of those terminals for me. So there's an active button. So if they're no longer used, you just uncheck the active button.
Okay.
And then if they are a supply point or a terminal, you see where it has supply point as a tab. That's where we would set up like the fuel ID number and the terminal number. If in case you were creating a totally new terminal, you would create a new location and update that section. I think that used to be in the one of those vendor maintenance section on the right side. So that's how you make it inactive. So for the shell one that you were referring to, you would just go to their locations tab and make them inactive.
Okay.
So now we can close this screen. And then let's get back to the transport load. All right. So because you changed the fuel supplier, now it's going to make you put in a new supply point. So go ahead and select a supply point for me. And that would be the terminal. You would click in the box inside, like right in the detail section. There you go.
There you go. That's why you didn't have them put one in the other one, because you were pulling just a terminal one.
Be Charlotte, South Carolina.
Charlotte. This.
Yeah. The bottom one. Or Little Giant.
All right. So now the bulk location is where you're. I know you're probably not throwing it into your bulk plant, but you do have to select a bulk location here just for general ledger purposes. So it's going to use this location as the profit center for the postings, for the receipt. So this will debit in the, go ahead.
This is well, let's see.
This was a direct, but.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have a profit center for where this product is going, do we still select a bulk plant, or do we select the customer profit center?
You would select the location. So if this is going to Little Giant, it's whatever profit center is set up in there, because you guys are maintaining profit center by location for your consigned locations. So I would always select that. Yep. So that way it'll debit the inventory and then credit AP clearing for the right profit center that's set up in that location. And then, the only time you want to change this would be if you're actually one, let's see, I did those two should always match. I can't even come up with something. It should always match where you're actually selling it out of as well. Unless you're transferring product out of one of your location, in that case, your origin, instead of terminal, it would be like location. So then you have your scooping over to the bill of lading number. You guys know what that is. Then you put in what you're purchasing, which is, let's say, product 601. And then you have your gross and net units. And then the tax group is going to use for that calculation. And that's dependent on the vendor's location. So right now it's saying that, hey, you know what? Your vendor location for BP Petro, North Carolina, whatever that code was, the tax group that's currently set up is SCSUP, which is South Carolina Supplier Tax Group. So if that's incorrect, click in that for me. I'm not sure if that's changeable. I know in the sales side it is. Okay. So if that's wrong and you need to change it on a fly, you could. That if in case it's set up incorrectly.
Is that what we would do? The diversions?
The conversion should already take care of, sorry, go ahead. The diversion is what you said.
Right. Yes, because currently sometimes the driver will load on the wrong state. And we're entering the location, the terminal, as where it should have been pulled. Right. And then on receipt verify side, they do something to get the taxes to the right state.
Yeah, we keep the variance and then take and go into the grid and put the variance to the state it's supposed to go to for the gas tax.
So in this case, say they loaded on North Carolina by accident, and we would put the supply point in as BP Charlotte, North Carolina, and then when we get to the tax group, change it to the SCSUP?
That would be true as long as the calculation for the tax, for the receipt will match this. So if what you're saying is this terminal is going to charge you the taxes for this tax group, then yes, because the calculation for the receipt taxes will be based off of that, the tax group.
I think we're going to have to do this based on whatever the supplier invoices us to get the
right.
invoice to come out.
That's what this. Correct.
So we would have to change that. Okay. So whatever the invoice is charging us, that's what we're going to have to put in the tax group.
That is correct.
That would be, so that makes it come out, and then it comes, that way the invoice comes out right, we'll have to make adjustments on the AP side. Okay, that's fine.
So now, if this was going to be delivered to multiple locations, so at the bottom section where you have the distribution header, do you want to do another line of receipt, or are you good with just one?
How about the freight rate and the surcharge columns?
Okay.
Normally,
so
then the freight is a lump figure at the top right in origin now.
Okay. So the freight rate, you want to wait until you actually put the distribution section and then put it up at the top. And you're charging, the terminal is charging you the freight, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So let's.
Freight. The common carrier's charging us the freight. And we're not billing the customer. It's included, the freight's included in their
price.
Markup price.
Okay. So then the freight is charged by the carrier separately. That may or may not be from the supplier.
Yes, it'll be from that cash row up at the top, which is the carrier, as opposed to the vendor.
Okay. Let's see here. Carrier charges freight separately. Okay. So let's finish the distribution section, and then we'll go put in the freight rate lump amount there. So at when you click that line, at the distribution header record, that's where you would type in the amount, and then, or that's just the header section. And at the bottom, that's where you would put in the amount of units that you are going to sell this customer. If you had multiple distributions, then you would split up the line item. So go ahead, go down to the detail for me. Let's just say you are delivering it to Little Giant. In the receipts link, click that. Right underneath receipts link, that little detail in the distribution detail section.
Okay.
Click the, not the header, but the actual detail line.
Blue line.
Blue line.
Yep. If you click in that box.
It's
Clicking it.
Is it not?
Not
Okay. Click, currently you're not, okay. Go back to the distribution header and highlight or click that line. Yes, now it should be available. If you were going to change the units, so tab over and change this to like, I don't know, 1,500 units. Okay, so then you should have another 482 gallons, right? So let's say you're delivering that to another customer. So go ahead in that header section where you have to select customer, and right underneath the first line, click in right where you're at. Go ahead and click in that box for me and select customer again, or you can select location if you're going to drop it into your bulk plant. So let's just select any other customer or another. All right. So now, since you have that line highlighted, you go down to the detail. Notice it's blank.
Mm-hmm.
There is where you would put in the actual, the load for that specific customer. And you can select that and then change the amount of the units you're delivering to, let's just, for the sake of doing it, yep, do that, and then put in the price in case it's different for this customer. And for right now, let's go ahead and save the record.
This price is the rack price, is that right? Or
this is
that would be the rack plus freight plus markup,
so that's the quoted price.
less taxes, no taxes.
Okay.
South Carolina.
It still goes through a whole pricing hierarchy, so it depends on what's set up in the item, if they have any rack prices set up. So those type of scenarios, and then, or you can modify it if you need to. Let's go ahead and save this record for me. So normally, you have to save the record before you could put in a freight. So I didn't check to see if if that carrier is set to be billed by themselves. I didn't check that out. So go ahead and click that hyperlink under the ship via, and let's go there. And then go to the ship via tab. Freight billed by other company-owned carriers. So then this would be check on the bottom right side. I just want to see what other options are there. I think it's set right, but so it's not the vendor internal. Okay, so go ahead and close the screen for me. Because in Origin, that's how you guys have it set, right? In Origin, is that how you have it set? Is other? Okay. So now let's go ahead and close this. And then go ahead in the freight rate. In the
bottom.
Right, there you go. The bottom would be the distribution side, so you don't do it there. You go up at the top in the receipt side. Sorry. Is it letting you type something in there?
0.0199.
I was given.
And there's a surcharge, 28%.
That's included with this.
No, I guess that would be in that surcharge column.
So this is
What is the surcharge? Is it like an additional fee?
Yes, based on that carriers charge us a surcharge based on the cost of these current cost of diesel.
Okay.
A percentage.
Okay.
This carrier changes the percentage once a month. Most everybody else is subject to change every week.
Okay. Let me see here. I've not had anybody use the surcharge field yet. I know that the freight rate's being used. Type something in there for me.
28 that's what their surcharge is, 28%, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nice. How are you, in Origin, what were you guys using? Just an item code?
None of it, I hand figured it, the freight, and put it in the freight amount.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see what, go ahead, just because I'm not as familiar with the surcharge and how that should be used. So I don't want to comment, but we'll put a number in and see what happens. Let's go ahead and save for me. Okay, go ahead and say okay. And then in that freight item up at the top left, I probably should have tried out this scenario too.
Oh.
Try and save it for me now, and let's see. Okay. Now, the moment of truth, we're going to post it, and we're going to go see what the receipt looks like. This doesn't have a post preview, so I can't see it in there. All right. For the sake of, since I'm not familiar with the surcharge, we're going to say okay. I'm going to have you move that surcharge for me, and I'll get back with you on how that works, because it looks like there's a bunch of setup required for it. So in Origin, the way you were handling surcharge was you were just bulking it as you were inserting it within the freight. Is that what you just said?
Yes, in the freight, and it was bulk
Okay.
amount for that location, all products, even if they got 3 products, so they got 3 gases. It didn't break it down per gas.
Per gallon. And in this case, since there is a column for it, what's the ideal situation for you, if in case that ideal is possible? What would that be?
The ideal would be to put the freight rate per product, per location, like you've got set up here, add the surcharge to it, and then if it's possible, we are charged splits and pump-off fees. The pump-off is per single location. A split fee would be divided up between all locations, all products.
Okay. So in this case, the surcharge, because now you're saying there's an additional fee on top of, so you have freight rate, surcharge, and then another fee.
And then sometimes splits or pumps, not always.
But the surcharge is only on the freight itself, right?
Yes, surcharge is only on the freight.
So the pump fees and the split fees do not include a surcharge.
Correct.
Okay, so the surcharge is a percentage of the freight, but not of the product. Freight only. So in this case, what you're expecting for this to do is 28% on the freight.
Yeah, 28%. Basically, the freight rate is the $199 plus 28% instead of. It would be nice if the machine calculated it.
Okay. And since we don't have a split fee or another fee field here, do you guys have that in Origin? How did you handle that?
There again, it was all lump sum one figure. I hand figured on the calculator.
Gotcha. Okay. So if there's not a field for it, so my guess is you can't do that. I'm just thinking of journal entries. Otherwise, you're going to have to continue doing it on the freight rate if you don't want to single it out as an item code. Like, for example, you would put in a line item for the fee, another line item for the fee, for the other fee, if there is one. But when you post, and that's only on the receipt, right? That doesn't go over to the customer?
Some do to customers. Sometimes the splits are billed to the customer, sometimes not.
Okay. And as far as journal entries, how how do we need to worry about that, Ann?
Their code's set up already, for miscellaneous codes to charge it if we have to manually. Is that what you need to know?
Yeah, because it may be, because you either have to change your freight rate to include those other fees or create an item code as a line item.
We've been going through sales ticket entry, so if we have to continue to do that for those charges, we can.
To bill the customer.
Oh, on the billing side of the customer, you can add it down at the bottom so you don't have to do like a separate ticket.
Okay.
So that you can have multiple lines. I was just thinking, like, what part of this is going to be on the receipt side? So are we talking about two different things? Like, on the receipt side, do I need to worry about those fees?
Yes.
Okay, you do. Okay.
The freight can come out. So we may still have to add it to the freight cost to get it in that part.
Yeah. Now, your other option, too, is, you know how we go through the whole receipt verify process. Do me a favor, zero out that surcharge, and we're going to go through that whole process. Or delete it. There you go. Go ahead and try and post it for me, and let's see what happens here. Because what I'm going to want to do is go to the receipt. Okay, so say okay to that. Click the first distribution header. Sorry, not that. In the distribution header, click that first customer line. I want to see if we accidentally zeroed it out. So what that error is saying is that on the details section of one of your customers, the price is 0, which it looks like we may have modified it accidentally. So go down to the bottom. Once you have that line highlighted, the detail shows at the bottom. So change that for me. Now let's go ahead and post it. Unable to calculate freight as each is not found in 601 as unit of measure. Okay, so you okay to that? And then open up, so right above the purchase item number, can you right-click open? Right, and then open item. And in here, under where it says gallon, underneath the gallon, in the unit of measure section, go down 1 for me. See if each is available in there. There we go. And then go ahead and select unit quantity 1, if it lets you in. And it's not a stock unit, so you can go ahead and save this. And then close the screen. And then click post for me until the next pop-up comes up. And item location is invalid, missing for freight. Okay, so invalid locations I'm missing for freight. Go ahead and click the freight item hyperlink. I think that'll open up. So the way that, and we've never talked about inventory, we kind of just got into it. Is the hyperlink not opening? No. Okay. Do me a favor. On the left side, go to inventory. And then click items. So when we convert your items in I21, we did it backwards. There's only one item number, but multiple location. So normally you'd go to freight and then you'd select location 1, location 2, location 3. So go ahead and open up freight. and then go to Setup. Under the Setup, you have the Location tab. So when you create a new item, what it's looking for is, hey, you know what? You select the item, and then tell me what locations this item can be accessible to or where you would sell it from. So I think the location we selected was 600 something. So what you want to do here is click Add Multiple.
615, that's number 2.
Oh, okay.
And then search for 615. And then click Add.
I think we talked about this, just adding all, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just adding all of them at some point.
Now you do notice that how it defaults to average. Your method is going to be FIFO. So let's say you do notice that that's wrong. You have to click the hyperlink and then change it in there on the where it says costing method average. You'd select FIFO. There you go. Now this is a non-inventory product. So really it probably doesn't make a difference, but for the sake of consistency in the system, so that we're not wondering if in case it ever does change, we at least have it right. Now let's close this. And let's go ahead and close this. And then try and post again.
Oh.
So it just keeps going. So in this one, it's saying that the item code, the GL account for AP clearing for 615 does not exist. So it's that whole concept and of profit center for every single location. So if we're receiving product for 615 or any of your consigned locations, we're going to need GL account numbers for those as well. So to do that, do you want to go ahead and get that created now so we can try and post this?
Yeah, just to see how it works. I can give you the number.
Okay. No problem. So let's go to General Ledger on the left side. And then go to Build Accounts.
It should be already built in the GL.
So what you want to do is search for that in that filter where it says F3, type the primary account in there of the AP clearing account.
5600.
Oh, it's not that one. Close that for me. It's looking, in this specific scenario, it's looking for the AP clearing account. So click the X. That's okay. We might end up getting to that point of what you're thinking, though. So
20 something, 20, maybe 2010 was the old one. Something like that.
If you go to the chart description and filter by the chart description column and do filter, search for clearing, or just put clear. I don't think I changed it to pending payables, did I?
Oh, think
You know
so,
what?
because we already.
Yeah, we thought we did. Okay. Well, there's another way. Go to company, common info, go to company location. When in doubt, we'll just go to the setup.
Common info on your left menu.
Oh, I see.
And then company locations. And maybe I don't have it set up in here. And then search for 615. Select that and open. And then go to the GL Accounts tab. So the profit center is 1627D. AP clearing account. It's not in the screen.
Still got that in.
Account.
Yeah, that's still in the
Yeah,
AP. That's not. We don't have the clearing in there.
that's not the AP clearing. All right. What would be the location AP clearing if it's? I think it's in the item code. So let's close this. I was thinking it was in here. That's where I would have guessed. And then let's close this. Let's go to inventory and then items. And then open the freight for me. And then go to the setup. AP clearing in 2022. Okay. The fact that you can have one differently for all items is kind of, I was expecting it in company locations. So we need to build 2022, but for that location's profit center. So it would be 2022 in here. So you go ahead and remove your primary account filter. There you go. And search for 2022. Select that. Why? Huh.
That's the one.
That's the one we need to rename.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's 2 or 3 of them. I sent you a list that we need to rename them on the.
Right. Now I remember. Right. And then look for 1627 on the right side.
1627.
That's the GL profit center number.
27, 29, and number 5, yeah.
Okay. And now let's go ahead and click build. And then commit. Normally I like not having all the messages pop up, but I guess there's a certain value in having it because then you kind of see where the setup is required. So let's go ahead and try posting.
Another one for the second one. Yeah, you got to do 6. Okay.
Oh, for item number 601, but item location 615, PV number 2 is missing. Jill account setup for AP clearing account category. Okay, so let's look up item 601. I can't imagine that having a different AP clearing account unless I set it up wrong, which is probably the case. I'm hoping. Otherwise, I'm not sure where that error, what I need to do with that error message. And then set up. Okay. Oh, don't put anything in there yet for me. So here's the hierarchy. Go to details. If there's nothing in the item code, first, before setting it up, go to the category hyperlink. There might be something in here. So it's a combination of the category GL accounts. So go ahead and click the GL accounts tab. So this is looking at 2000, which is probably the
That's the pending.
That's right. So that's the old one. Okay. So in this case, because I think we talked about creating a new one. So in this case, this is probably should be 2022. Isn't that what we said? So click in that account.
We're going to keep the old system with the old one and then create the new one. That's why we were recycling those numbers.
Right. So off to the right side under the account ID instead of 2000, see if 2022 is available to select in there. No?
There you go.
There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and save this. So now I got to write that down. Validate all entries for items and categories. Okay, so since we did set up that account already for that location, we should be able to try and post now until the next setup. We may not need to talk about setup after we go through all of this.
True. Yay!
So let's go ahead and say okay. So now when you post the transport load, just like Origin, it posts both the receipts and the sales. So now if you need to go see how this updates those two different grids, we're going to go ahead and close this. And then there's going to be go into inventory. We'll do the receipt side first. Inventory receipts. So purchasing is considered the payable side in I21, whereas in Origin we called it purchasing was where you put it receipts in. Let me see here. I go ahead and click refresh because is it just me or I don't see it in this screen?
Is the date the last one? Is that it?
No, is that ours? Was that the date I was thinking? We changed the date. Maybe not.
I don't think we did.
Okay. That is the right record. Okay, awesome. So from here, you have two ways to receipt verify this in our terms in Origin. You can click voucher, and that'll create a voucher, and then you can go into the voucher and modify it if you want to. Or close this, which is the way we probably will do it. Close this screen for me. Go into the purchasing side. Go to the purchasing menu, and then go to vouchers. So like in Origin, what you guys would normally do is go into payables, enter payables, receipt verify. In your case here, you would go to vouchers, and then you'd click new. And then it'll ask you for the vendor, so then you pick up the main vendor that you use as your fuel supplier. So I think it was BP, maybe?
BP.
Oh, you're still going to find all sorts of BPs. Oh, the selection's not so bad, so you can scroll down.
Keep coming.
That one.
There we go. So now, kind of like Origin, where it pops up and asks you which one you want to receive into the payable, in this case, it'll have all of the options. You select which one, and then you click Add. So if you had multiple purchase orders, multiple receipts, you can select both of them and bring them in. Go ahead and say yes. So if you needed to modify this, like let's say there's a difference of 2 cents or whatever it might be, this is where you can insert additional line items at the bottom of the very last detail line. So underneath, for example, underneath miscellaneous description where it has the highway diesel. Right. You can add another description there. Just like a regular voucher at this point, you can modify it. So maybe it's just rounding of 2 cents and you need to change that or whatever.
And due dates are picking up from where?
The due dates are based off of the vendor's terms code. So this is, yep.
We may have to do that if, the difference in Motiva 3 and 10 days.
Okay.
Let's verify that.
So if you don't need to modify any of these, or if the rate is, if the price per gallon or the cost per gallon needs to change, you can change that. And if you did, it knows to adjust the cost or the inventory back. There's like an adjustment GL account number. But if this is okay, go ahead. What do you guys normally modify when you're receipt verifying? Tell me, that's probably what I should ask.
If we have a diversion, we may have to modify that. It's usually off a penny or here or there, so that's not a big deal. the terms discount down there on the bottom now,
Mhm.
we can just override that and put whatever the invoice has in there.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
with invoice instead of having it added up at the end, Lisa. So let me think what else. Once in a while we'll have an invoice that comes in with a different pricing on it than what it was receipted as, and we have gone in here during the receipt verify price and changed that price. And
you're talking about the actual cost. Go ahead and make
Right.
the screen bigger for me. Let's see if that's, and then if you go over to the cost, can you change that? Sorry, left side. There we go. Change that to something else. And for the sake of seeing what the difference this is going to do, go ahead and click post preview for me. Oh.
Let me move that down.
You have to put in an invoice number. There you go. Now let's click post preview.
We're good. Oh, there we go. What else do we change, Anthony?
Say no. You guys aren't using approvals?
No, not yet. Once it's gotten this far, it's approved.
Got it.
Like it.
Yeah.
Is it not showing the, go back to the details and then go back to post preview for me. I want to see if it's not refreshing. And then click post preview.
It says waiting for submit at the bottom. Is that something I clicked on? Or
I think it's because you said no to the
no to the approval?
Oh,
when you're ready to
So you-
submit.
gotcha. So then this might be set up for an approval, but I didn't think you guys were set up. So go ahead and go back to the details. We might have to say yes to that. And then change something in the reference field on the right side, just so it thinks it's being edited. What I want to know is if you guys are not using approvals, why it's prompting us to approve it. Because what drives that is the vendor. It's like stuck now.
Do the post preview thing.
Say yes to this. That's weird that it's asking us, though.
No need for approval.
Yeah. I need to see where that is, guys, because I'm not sure why it's asking us to approve. Can you click that post button up at the top?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll look into that, because if the vendor's not set for approval, it should not have asked us.
Okay.
Can you click unpost preview? Let me see if it's going to show us the journal entries. And then on the bottom right side, click refresh for me. It shouldn't have to click refresh on this screen. At least I didn't think so, because it normally just loads. All right, well, I'll write that up, because that's post preview. Because for when you go live, this is something you want to constantly look at for a little bit until you're confident enough with the journal entries that it's creating. Because a lot of the setup, it's converted over, but we still want to do the right due diligence and make sure that they're going to the right accounts. And part of that, too, Ann, is before we go live, we probably want to start getting a list of those to you and show you where to look them up and just confirm them. So that way we know that going live that they're the right accounts. Because many of those accounts we set up, they weren't even in Origin, so we just went with it. We may have just picked one. So I'm not sure what's wrong with this. So as far as the whole receipt verify process in I-21, do you guys have a question in like the flow?
So,
And unfortunately, I can't show you the entry for the receipt, for the freight, and that's really what I was going after, was that. But because I can't see the post preview, I can't see what journal entries it made in this screen. We can probably look. Sorry?
Now, as far as the payables go, I have, Motiva normally has 3 payables and BP has 2.
Yeah, the split payables, yeah.
So where would I enter those at?
You're talking about multiple receiver into one payable?
No. We talked about this where they defer the taxes on the invoices to make suppliers.
Gotcha. So go ahead and click the payment schedule tab. Oh, this is already posted. Okay. Close this screen and reopen it, and we'll just unpost it. And we're already in this is the receipt screen. Since we've already vouchered it, you'll have to go to the voucher screen. It's already vouchered, so it's going to give you an error that it's already done. So close this. And then close this. There we go. So now it should be in here. Now it's just a matter of finding which one. So you may have to refresh this since that was already. Is this the right one? Okay.
Yeah.
So this process is part of the holdup currently at the end of the month, right? With an origin.
No, the process there is waiting on the freight bills to come in to get the Castro and Lee tend to hold it. That's the biggest holdup.
Okay. So do we need to talk about that process, or is that something you have to do internally, or? Because as far as I-21 is concerned, there's
nothing to do with the holdup is not in I-21. It's going to be with the supplier, the common carrier. So,
gotcha.
But if we can look and see how to split those taxes out as separate payments, that's
really
good.
Okay. All right. So it looks like our screen is jumbled up a little bit because I can't. On the left side, you see that where it says. So let's go ahead and click that, but I don't know if it's really that button. Like, I just feel like it needs to refresh. All right. I see. Okay, now go to the payment schedule tab. See, it's just not the buttons. There's normally like an add button in here. So go ahead and reload the screen, like the browser. I'm sorry. I just think it needs.
It needs a cookie.
It needs a cookie.
And what did we do there? Surcharge. So it's after click and post preview with submits. So after going through that. Post preview not coming up. Okay. Now go ahead and click insert for me. And then here is where you would put the amount, where it says schedule amount on the right side. So let's just say this, I don't remember how much the totals are. So 58, put 58.47 on this one. And then click insert again.
29 something. Coming up. 23.
Yeah, that's not good. And you can change your due date there. There's no discount on some of that, so that was, okay, cool. Then hit below net 3.
You have to insert another line.
There you go.
Split that as well.
Right. See if you can zero out that discount on the.
Well, see, the way the
Discount
payables,
Right there, center, over Jimmy, over right there.
Oh, I got you.
Okay. Now zero out the discount.
yeah, 'cause normally the one discount.
Yeah, you don't
goes-
have discount on any taxes. There you go. Okay.
All right, so now let's go ahead. I feel like we're missing one more in here, like the actual payment, but I want to see if there's a message that tells me that. So I'm going to have you post it. Because I wanted to tell me that you're, okay. I was hoping you would tell me that. I was like, wait, I don't think we have enough in there. So say okay here. So in the payment schedule, it's trying to sum up the total amount due. I know
Right.
now it's telling us many times that we don't have the right amount. So you just have to have the total amount, and which is, I think, that email from George.
Okay.
So yeah, so it just has to equal the total.
Okay, so if we were to put, and basically what we do now is we put in the amount of the invoice less the discount, with the discount on that line, and then the next up to 2 lines are the taxes separated for the due dates that they're due, and those 3 have to add together. So that may still work the way it's set up. We just didn't use the total amount.
Yeah, because I think the terms discount, the way I-21 works is the terms discount is really valid when you pay it, like when it's
Right.
paid by.
Right.
So it's a true discount.
Right.
So you'll just
And
have
see,
to kind of play with.
And see, that's George and I had to discuss this. I can't even remember who was all in on that, because the discount itself is only on the product. So we had to come
Right.
up with a way. So that's why that's in there. So-
Gotcha.
In conception,
Yep.
I'm also supposed to verify the freight amount. Where at on this would the freight amount even show up?
You're talking about the payable from the transport load that we just posted?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So go ahead and click New for me. Go ahead and save this first. Go ahead and click New, then select that that carrier as a vendor code, because it should have created for another. All right, so it's going to keep airing out. Go ahead and say no and just, because our totals. So go ahead and bring up the carrier for me in here.
Cash row.
Wonder if you could use their code they just printed up. KHA.
Okay.
Scroll up. It's hiding now.
Oh, there it is.
I don't know why it does that. So go ahead and select that freight and say add. Go ahead and say yes. So, okay. So we have multiple locations potentially happening. You see where you have location 1 in the default header of this voucher? What it's telling you is, hey, you know what? This receipt came from, it's on the right side. Go one more over. It's saying this location you're saying is location 001, but then your freight came from location 615. Are you sure? And the reason we did that is we put the location at the detail section if you were doing multiple receivers for different locations. So you can just say yes to that question. It's just comparing the detail with your header.
We don't have
And
a bed.
Now, you could have changed your location in the header and made it the right location. Then it wouldn't have given you that error message.
Okay.
So the payment schedule apparently is stuck. Click payment schedule for me. So that's a blocker because it's not like removing its totals from the previous record. Oh, that's a myth. Do you in 18.1? Do you guys get that message a lot too, or no?
We did one time, remember?
But not as frequent as this. Okay. Yeah, it seems like it's constantly asking you, and I wonder if it's because what sets that up is the vendor file. So it's, and I don't think I set up any of yours to be, to have a voucher that needs approved. So I'll have to do that because that could get annoying. It's annoying me, so. Because it's just causing issues on the screen, and so it's not loading fast enough. But even if you were going to use approvals, you're not going to use it for all of your vendors, I assume. I guess you could be. So as far as the freight is concerned, you would handle it no different than the receipt.
They just pull up that freight center.
So technically, could I go ahead and do the invoices, and then when cashier sends their freight bill, then I could do the freight on its own, and that way the
That's
invoice is
probably right.
already in?
Yeah, that sounds, because you're not looking
Yep.
at it. You're not looking at it at the same time that you're doing the the supplier invoices. So yeah, you probably could do that now. Verify it from the statement itself.
As long as the receipt's already posted, you can pull each one separately.
Very good. You're better, pal.
Right, receipt.
Say it loudly. She'll answer you.
Okay, well, I don't know if this is more you question or
that's all right.
conception. Sometimes once we've gone all the way through the process and it's receipt verified, we determine that we dropped the product at a wrong location. And I have to go back and do like a reversal and put in correctly.
Okay.
Do we still have to do that, or can we like undo the receipt, verify, and then unpost and make corrections?
Yes, as long as the voucher is not paid. Well, even if the voucher is paid, and as long as you just got to go all the way back, like backwards of the very last step.
99% of these are e-checks, so it really won't matter if as long as it's not reconciled, right?
Exactly. You just keep going back from the last transaction.
Start from the voucher or the payment, and then unpost, and then do the receipt verify, and we just fix it.
In other words, I would undo the payment, then get Anthony to unreceipt, verify, and then I could go back and unpost and do correct and go through again. Okay, thank you.
Now, if let's say it was distributed to a customer, though, you may not be able to go back to the transport load, but you can at least get it back to where you can remove it from the voucher and then bring it back in, or modify the voucher once you unpost it.
We're talking about getting back to where it said the wrong inventory, if that's the case.
Oh, different. You mean different location?
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, you can remove the voucher, go back to the transport load, but if the customer's already paid for it, I don't think it'll let you unpost the transport load.
Well, okay, say that it's a consigned location and it got dropped in the wrong inventory.
Okay.
So as long as the customer hasn't paid for, the customer won't be paying for that inventory until we go through the consignment process.
Yep.
So
then then you can unpost the transport load.
Okay.
So for consigned, I can undo, but for direct, I might not be able to.
If they paid
If
for
they
it,
paid.
if it's paid for it in AR, of course, somebody's gonna say, I didn't get this load before they pay it anyway. So you shouldn't have a problem there either, because you can just, it'll just back it off their account at that point. Okay?
That's
We
gonna
work
make it
through that
easy.
if we get to it. But that's a good question.
So, Anthony, are you receipt verifying the propane deliveries as well? Your receipt?
That lady right there.
So Kim, you're doing this receipt verify too?
Yeah, I do it in for propane.
But that just pretty much drops in bulk plant inventory. Do you have any questions about?
It's a lot more simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only way to put everything now.
Good.
Yeah. Where to drop numbers.
Okay.
And then I think we went over quickly yesterday the purchasing inventory receipt side. So you guys were talking about just dropping it into the bulk plant. So that's under inventory receipts,
Right.
if you need to try that.
Yeah, should Kim just
Yes.
quickly.
So would this be like
I
what
was
I
on the
put
way
in the
yesterday.
bulk
Jimmy told me to turn around.
We're billing, yeah, because you're just gonna bill it, out of inventory.
Here, there's not gonna be here about every day.
I'll do new.
So it looks like. So go ahead and click new for me. So let's say it wasn't coming from a purchase order. You would click new, and up at the top, the type now is correct. It's a direct receipt. So if you go to the left side where it says order type, where it has a, you would select direct here. And then you select your main vendor, where you're purchasing the propane from.
Do planes right now.
Yeah.
We don't use them right now, but they're there.
Yeah, we don't use them anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the ship from is if you're pulling it from one of their other locations. So in case they had multiple locations. And I guess, right, because that'll drive the taxing if there's any.
Yeah, you can choose either 1, 2, or 4, either one, yeah.
And then now once you have that, you just put the receipt date, and then you really can get down to the bottom at this point and type in the item number that you're purchasing or putting the receipt in for.
Or we'll put period.
We'll go through that.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Okay.
so then
All
you
right.
put in your quantity, your cost, and all of that, and then you just post and the whole receipt verify process.
Okay, we've got to put freight on this too, so.
Charges link, what's that?
What?
Charges link, what's that?
Okay, do me a favor. Go ahead and put in the receipt quantity, put in a quantity in there for me.
1,000 gallons. Let's just do 1,000.
9,000, yeah, like usually it's like a 9,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then the tax group will show up on the right side. I think there might be, is there a tax group column if you keep scrolling to the right?
There's no tax.
There's no tax. Okay. Okay.
Always
So now,
it's always included in the price on this one because there's no excise tax on it.
okay. So then now click the, in regards to the freight, go to the charges and invoices tab. If you didn't, there's two ways to handle freight, but in your case, I think we're putting it in here, but let's try that. Go to other charges for me. Is freight in there? In the option? Sorry. In the actual line item?
Yeah.
Okay. Because then here is where you can allocate the freight to cost and then select a freight vendor.
Okay.
But I'll put the freight amount
In there.
and rate,
Mm-hmm.
like $300-something. That's where I put it. Like,
Like $320.
yeah. I like it, and just,
So this is like a flat rate. Is this what this is?
No,
it's like freight on other product,
yeah.
so it would be a percentage. So we would, to put a rate.
So in this case, if you were doing it by, so it's a percentage, it's not a quantity.
Is it on gallon? It's on gallon, isn't it?
Yeah, but it ranges. I don't know what percentage is.
It
So
doesn't
if
matter.
you don't,
Just throw a
that's okay.
percentage.
Just put it in the amount field then.
No, you can't do that.
Zero out. Yeah, I don't think you can do rate and the amount.
Put 1,000 gallons. How many gallons did we put? 9,000.
I'll let you.
I won't let you get in. Okay.
I'm gonna have to put a rate.
We're gonna
on
have
it.
to. Let me see how that, like the keystrokes on that. So how do you calculate freight on this specific one? Are you going to want to type in the amount because you can't come up with the quantity times the rate? What's going to be easiest for you as far as keystroke wise?
That for LP, that's usually we don't do it necessarily by quantity. We just pick up what freight rate they're charging us on the invoice.
Gotcha. So it's just an amount.
Right.
It's just an amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go into the
Well,
cost
we don't-
method. Go in there. Let me see what options are there. Click
Yeah.
amount. Well, it looks like there's a percentage, but amount seems easier if you just want to type it in. Is it not letting you in there? Okay.
That's it.
And then okay. So then you have your vendor, if whoever is the freight.
Carrier.
Courier.
PUR.
What was that again?
PUR.
Okay. So now we can go ahead and save this, or I guess we can try and post.
Inventory costs.
Uncheck inventory cost. You do if you want to charge the end. Okay, go ahead and post this. Are you going to get a bill separately for this
Yeah.
from vendor? Okay.
But I want to say it's still included. We're including it in the product.
Yeah. We divide it with the cost of the gallon he puts it in, and then distributes.
So it should affect the inventory cost.
Okay, so you do want it to affect the inventory cost.
Right, we do.
Okay. All right. Well, let me do a screenshot of this and get this set up because I didn't follow the journal entries for this scenario. I want to make sure it's going to be the right one for what you're trying to do because your expectation for this one is it'll debit inventory for the amount of the freight. So that way when you do sell the product, the cost of the goods is going to be a little higher.
That's right. Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go through the whole setup thing here. So, and just so while I'm thinking about it, in the live environment, since this one you can do now, can you go ahead and set up the GL account numbers and build them for inventory and AP clearing for all of the profit centers? So that way when we go, this is just one less thing we have to worry about, I guess, since this is one that we can do now.
Well, all right, now you want me to set them up in the...
In 01. Yep, in
01.
01. Not in Origin. Yep, in I21. Yep.
Okay. I can do that. Well, now the GL's already got them set up, except for the newest numbers we've got.
Right. You just need to combine them.
Okay. We might have to get on the phone with that before I do it.
Okay.
So I know through the steps, but I know what you're saying, but want to make sure I'm doing it like you want me to do it.
Yeah.
Okay?
No problem. Okay. So we're not going to go through the rest of these. It'll be the same ones we received earlier for freight and the product code for the locations. But then as far as receipt verifying this, you just go back to the voucher and then select the vendor, and you should be able to select that one and click add.
Okay. All right. Oh, I know.
All
okay,
right.
I see what you're
Oh, yeah,
saying.
go
Okay,
ahead.
I got you. I see the light bulb came on. Okay.
Otherwise, we'll have to sit here and go through the rest of it.
Yes, I got you. Okay. We'll try to get that done today. All right.
Well, and if you do it there, then we'll have to do it in the test environment anyways. But if
Yes.
you want, you know what I mean? So, yeah, if you want to go through this on your own and try and go through the error messages and set them up just to get through the posting, you are more than welcome to. And probably a good idea, you know. But then let me know if you guys get stuck or get a different error messages than we received earlier.
Okay.
We did not go through rack pricing, so we still have to do that. We don't need to do it today, but we do need to add that in our growing list.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys have a great afternoon. Jimmy, yesterday I tried sending you the video. However, I had an error message, and guess what fixed it? I had to log out and log in.
Oh.
So you would think I would know that, and I didn't do it until today. So I'll send you both today.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.